Sunday, obviously, but just what have these past few days feel like for you after your first start?
Yeah, it's been good. It really allowed me some time to watch the film and learn from film, and but then really take everything in. We always have a rule around here that 24-hour rule. Enjoy the win, and I was able to do that with some family, and then learn from that experience, and then get ready to start all over and do it again.
Amy, Gus?
Yeah, just growing up in the Mountain West, I guess I didn't know if you were a Broncos fan or a Seattle fan growing up. I guess what does it mean to you to be playing in Colorado, not close to home, but closer to home?
Yeah. I think kind of by default, you naturally supported those teams in that area because those are the teams that were always televised. So I certainly grew up watching them play and remember some of the greats that played there. I'm a little disappointed. 2020 has been a unique season where we played in Vegas, obviously going to Denver, which has been the closest proximity to where I grew up, and we won't be able to have any family or friends there. But I'm certainly excited to go back and be somewhat close to home.
Mike Triplett?
Taysom, you were pretty open about how you reflected on your journey and got a little emotional last week. Were there any one or two stops along the way that really stood out when you thought back? I know obviously that 2016 recovery stands out in my mind, but anything in particular that stood out to you?
No, I wouldn't say that there's one event, that sticks out more than another. But it's my wife and I dealt with a lot of disappointment through college. Where you pretty much every one of my off seasons but one was spent rehabbing from an injury, and so when you work hard to mentally, emotionally, overcome that, to step into another season, just have another disappointment. I would say it was the combination of every year of the 5 years that I was at BYU, which is really what caused us to reflect. And a lot of people don't see behind the scenes of that process, but what my wife went through, with me and taking care of me, and so it's been really rewarding to be able to go through that experience with her, and again, it was really a great time for her and I to reflect on all those experiences.
And you said you had to honor the 24-hour rule. Did that mean leaving an overwhelming amount of texts and phone calls unreturned?
Yeah, I left my phone alone Sunday night and enjoyed the evening with my wife and my parents, and I had some other family in town. And we just enjoyed the time and was able to hang out with my son. And as you can imagine, I didn't have a ton of time to spend with those guys through the week last week. So we tried to catch up Sunday and Monday.
John DeSavior?
Take some two parts here. First, what will you be looking to improve on? And second, did you learn anything about yourself that you didn't already know?
Yeah. There's a couple things that stick out in my mind from the game last week, and really it was just some timing elements to a few particular route concepts, a few protection, timing elements, protection-wise too, that I felt like I could have been better at last week. So as I watched the film and was making notes and kind of reviewed that, those were a couple things that stood out to me, but it was really just a few timing things. As far as proving to myself, I wouldn't say that I was able to do something that I didn't know I was capable of. I've always felt like I was capable of being a starter in this league, and it really just came down to having the opportunity. So I wasn't surprised in that from that standpoint. I've always believed in myself.
Nick Underhill?
Someone did a breakdown showing your footwork with Brees' footwork, and you guys looked almost exactly the same. I'm just curious, how much work have you put into that aspect of your game? How does it help you, and what's that process been like?
Yeah, you know, when I first got here, 2017, I was claimed. You know, I showed up, flew here Sunday. We had practice Monday, getting ready to play Monday Night Football against the Vikings. And I had a conversation with our quarterback coach. And he just made a comment to me like, man, we're in the season now, so our responsibility is to make sure Drew is ready to go. So all of our time and energy is going to be spent game planning, making sure he likes the game plan and he's ready for it. So with that being said, the best advice I could give you is to just do what Drew does. And so I did my best to take that to heart. We all know how great Drew is, how competitive he is, but you know, behind the scenes, he's been an incredible mentor. And so I've tried to adopt everything that guy has done. I think I mentioned this post game on Sunday, but I didn't realize what it took to prepare to be a starter in this league until I got here with Drew, and I had the opportunity to observe him as he prepared week in and week out. And without having that experience, you know, I wouldn't have been able to be as prepared as I was Sunday. But to answer your question, sorry, it's a long-winded answer, but I've absolutely worked on trying to adopt how he functions in this offense.
Does that help you be more accurate, the footwork? Like, how has that helped improve your game?
Yeah, I think that's a classic, you know, teaching point when you're coming up as a quarterback. Let your feet, you know, tell you where you need to go. You know, your feet tells you timing, you know, when the ball needs to come out. And I would say that we pretty much, and Drew pretty much has a routine with his footwork on every play. Just an example, there was a play that we put in today that I was asking him, you know, hey, what do you do on this play? And he had a very specific answer. And he's been great. He's been great with that.
Doug Luton?
Yeah, you were very patient in the pocket on Sunday. Is that something, with your ability to run the ball, is that something that you have to sometimes maybe fight an instinct to run? And were you happy with your patience and waiting things to develop and how you handled maybe that part of playing quarterback?
Yeah. Overall, yes, I was. I think I always, you know, if you're a guy that can run or you're a more athletic quarterback, so often people peg you as a runner, you know, and they say, man, you would prefer to run it than throw it or whatever. But I wouldn't say that's not my mindset. You know, as I step up in the pocket, my idea is to keep my eyes downfield. And look, I had an opportunity to learn from Aaron, who I think has done some of the best scramble and, you know, make big plays happen because he's athletic enough to get outside the pocket. And I think that's when a lot of big plays happen too. So my rule is keep your eyes downfield. If nothing presents themselves and you have an opportunity to get some yards, then I'm going to do that. But I went around to all my receivers pregame and I said, you know, make sure you guys continue to work for me. There's going to be opportunities where I break contain or I step up that the defense, you know, react to that. So just keep working. But that's my mindset.
Luke Johnson?
Taysom, I'm curious if you think your hometown, where you were raised, shaped you at all, and you know how you were able to deal with the setbacks you had in college and having to wait in the pros and all that.
Well, I don't know if my hometown specifically, but certainly my parents, you know, and the way that I was raised there. My siblings, you know, being the youngest of 4 kids, I felt like I was always a kid trying to catch up to my older siblings. And I felt like my parents instilled, you know, a lot of great habits in me in terms of work ethic and, you know, being okay to go out and try really hard and not always win, but, you know, assessing what you could do better. So I would say certainly the way that I was raised has helped me that way, if that answers your question.
Last question for Brett Martell.
Jason, how influential do you expect these few games here to be on your career path? Is it kind of like a pivotal launching point, or would that be overplaying it in the big picture?
Look, I'm taking every game, very seriously, and we've talked before, but there are a lot of really great players that just didn't get opportunities in the NFL, and these opportunities are few and far between. So, my mindset is to do everything I can to take advantage of every single opportunity. So, I'm preparing as hard as I can for each and every opportunity, and each game is a big game for me.
Thank you.
All right, thanks, guys.